with you? You said they looked at
It might have been probably a letter. Honorable Mamburi headed the delegation.
Who else was in the delegation?
Myself, and I don't remember whether there was a junior staff that was with us, but I know the ambassador also was with us. He was part of the delegation, the former ambassador.
I'm going to show you exhibit CB23A. This account was opened when Mr. Usman Jame, on the 25th of July 2011, and it says Mr. Usman Jame was Secretary General. What office did you hold on the 25th July 2011?
On the
5th July 2011.
25th July 2011. I was the Minister of Works.
You are the Ministry of Works. How long did you stay in the Ministry of Works?
From the 29th March 2011 to December 13, 2011. That's when I came back as SG.
Sorry, repeat the dates.
March 29, 2011, appointed Minister of Works up to December 13, 2011.
December 13, 2011. I'm going to show you a transaction with an attached pro forma invoice. This transaction is with regard to a deposit for a B757 aircraft purchase. And I'd like you to tell this commission whether you know anything about this transaction. That's exhibit CB24A. Can you collect the other exhibit? There is a pro forma invoice attached to that telex transfer of the sum of €1 million from Central Bank State Aircraft account to Global Trading Group, NV.
I'm not aware of this transaction because at that time I was not the SG, I was minister. That's what I believe, yes, because I've looked at the date on 2nd December 2011. And I came back on the 13th of December 2011 as SG.
Let me have the document back. Do you recollect having anything to do with that transaction when you came back? Do you know, sorry, let me just ask another question. Do you know Global Trading Group, NV? Global Trading Group, is it a familiar name?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you know about Global Trading Group?
We were operated by, Bazi and Group, Mohammed Bazi and Group.
Okay, what were they doing here at the time you knew them?
Global Trading? I think it was part of the companies that, Bazi operated, like Eagle Company and that one. So I am sure Bazi was into this energy sector. But I don't know exactly the role of, Global Trading doing exactly. But I know that it was operated by, Mohammed Bazi.
Did you at any time during this period that I have just shown you the invoices, that is 30 November 2011 into 2012, did you at any time request Global Trading Group to apply the 1 million euro indicated in this transaction to other purposes apart from the purchase of an aircraft?
Sometime in, towards the end of July, July 2012, who also worked with Mr. Bazi. Manhal approached me, came to my office, and informed me that Mr. Bazi had a meeting with the former president. And Bazi has asked him to come to me to issue a letter pertaining to some funds that were meant or that were prepared for the purchase of an aircraft, and that we should issue them a letter authorizing them to offset some deliveries that they made, the company, Global Trading, made to Kanilai Family Farms, and that I should issue them a letter, giving them that authorization. So I was like, well, nobody said anything to me, and I cannot issue, a letter without, instruction. So what I would do is I would get back, I would go to the former president and then, tell him what you told me. I was able to see, the president, and I informed him of what Manhal told me. And he said, yes, the president told me, yes. He was, talking to Bazi, and I think there was an intention to purchase an aircraft, but that didn't materialize. And they have delivered some items, some equipment, some materials to Kanilai Family Farms, to them. He says they have delivered certain things to me. That's what he said. And now, what I want you to do is to write the letter, write, a note instructing them that, because I think they had an issue somewhere which they were questioned about, that transaction. So my memory serves me right. He asked that, we issue them, with that letter, asking them to use that towards settling the bills that they, they already delivered, to him or to State House or to government. I can recall that.
Did you issue a letter?
Yes, after I issued a letter conveying, I think that's what I'm conveying the executive approval or something like that for Global Trading company. I cannot remember whether it was for Global Trading or Eagle, but for Global Trading to utilize, that funds towards certain things, certain items that were delivered to State House. And I think I had some of the invoice. So.
Okay.
a former invoice. I don't know if it is the same or it is related. There were some items that were delivered to.
Do you have a copy of the letter?
I don't have the copy of the letter with me, but it was on the aircraft, state aircraft file. That was, and if I see the letter, I can confirm, that it was mine. But I know that it would be at the state aircraft file.
The president's instruction to you, was it in writing?
No, it was not in writing. When you have an issue or something to discuss with him, normally you go with your with a notebook or an agenda book where you go and then verbally explain to him what was the motive or the reason why you came to see him, and then he will tell you what he needs to tell you. Then you probably note it down, and if it is an instruction, if it is a letter that you need to issue, you move down to the secretary's office and then execute that instruction.
We have also seen quite a number of minutes that the president himself has written.
Yes.
Did he minute anything regarding this matter, which was in respect of 1 million euro?
I don't remember, seeing any minutes. It was, I came in front of, where he was seated in his office, and I told him that this is the issue, this is the case, and I need guidance and I need directives. So he told me, go ahead and then issue that letter.
Right. We certainly will try to locate the state aircraft file if it's still there. Mr. Ba, the invoices you're referring to were for Kanilai Family Farms, which is a private company at the time. I mean, since you don't have the letter, I don't need the invoices. Without the letter, it will be meaningless. But to your recollection, this was in respect of Kanilai Family Farms.
Yes.
How could public funds be utilized to pay for invoices of Kanilai Family Farms?
Very difficult to explain how, why.
You are the Secretary General?
Yes. At some point, yes, I've been Secretary General.
No, at this time, when you wrote that letter, you said
yes.
you were the Secretary General. And here you were being asked to use public funds that were transferred for the specific purpose of purchasing an aircraft to be applied to what really can only be regarded as private purposes. So, do you have any explanation as to why this could happen?
I cannot explain why, because it was different with with President Jammeh. You are there as you're supposed to advise him, and you do advise him on many occasions prior to this, and you see the reaction that he has. Probably he doesn't want any advice from anybody. And this was, for him, he owns everything. For him, he owns the country, and he has been saying that, and he owns everything.
Counsel, I'd like to intervene. Did you just say he owns everything?
That's what he believed.
As Secretary General,
yeah.
Did you believe he owned everything?
No.
You went on your own initiative to tell him Manhal was requesting for this letter to be written to offset. Was there any need for advice? This time you were asking to write the letter. Did it occur to you that KFF was a privately held firm? It was not a public enterprise.
It was not a public enterprise.
So why did you ask to write the letter?
Why did?
You asked to write that offset letter.
Why did he ask me?
No, you asked him to guide you on Manhal's request. according to your testimony.
Right.
Good. Why did you ask him that? Why didn't you wait
Because
for him
he Manhal came and told me something that the president said. So I went to him.
If you go for a briefing, you can ask him, or you wait for him to tell you. It's either or. In this case, why did you take it on your own initiative to ask him to write the offset letter with the full knowledge that Kanilai Family Farms was a private business, not a public enterprise?
I went to him. I went to the president to ask him that somebody came to my office, and that was
I know
Manhal.
what you did.
Right.
I know exactly what you did. I'm asking, why did you take it on your own initiative to ask him to write the letter?
I didn't take it on my own initiative, sir.
Okay. You were not just any ordinary minister. You were the Secretary General and Minister for President's Affairs. Yeah? Presidential Affairs. So you were a top civil servant. Yeah? You have knowledge, and you also understand the code of ethics. Is it proper to use public funds to offset liability of a privately held company?
No,
It's not proper.
it's not proper.
You agree, but you signed the letter nonetheless.
Yeah, yes,
Did
I
you
had
protest?
no choice. Huh?
Or did you protest or query? Did you mean it anywhere that you had discomfort writing this letter?
Did I mean it anywhere?
That you had
No.
reservations writing this letter?
No.
Did you also shudder to think that as SG, you are accountable for everything you do?
Yes,
Okay. You took an oath of office,
yes,
and it said you will serve the country, not an individual, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. When you wrote that letter to take money that was meant for the purchase of an aircraft to offset KFF's liability, did you serve the country along those lines? Fear,
Yes.
without fear or favor, affection or ill will?
yes.
You did.
I believe.
Explain how.
I believe that I served, the country. I served the
You said it was different under Jame. That indicated fear. That indicated favor.
No.
So tell us how money that was meant. Did you ask?
First of all, I didn't know, how that money,
Did you ask?
Did I ask who?
Yeah, you should have asked as
Who?
SG.
The president?
You should have asked Manhal.
Manhal,
What were the issues related to the aircraft? Maybe the Belgian authorities blocked the purchase of the aircraft. Did you ask? Maybe they tried to purchase and they were blocked. Do you know that they were investigated?
I asked what happened, and why the purchase was not made, and I was told that they found it sold.
Do you know that there was an investigation? GTG was investigated because of the huge amounts of funds by the Belgian police. And
No,
they said
I
they
know-
used that same letter you wrote to furnish to the Belgian police. Do you know that your letter was sent to the Belgian police?
No, I know, I understand, that letter was used at the police, Gambian police,
He said in open testimony here that the original letter is with the Belgian police.
with the Belgian police. I'm not aware of that.
Okay. But when you wrote that letter, you did it with the full knowledge that Kanilai Family Farms was a private company. And whatever they supplied was not to the Gambian public. It was to a company.
There were vehicles, there were buses, there were others that the state was using at the
Was
time.
it delivered to the state or to the firm? The items,
I
were
don't-
they delivered to the state or to KFF? Or was
I don't
KFF also part of the Gambia government, according to your understanding?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't
You
know.
just signed.
Just sign.
Yeah. You just wrote that letter.
Yes, under instructions that we should write that letter to have them paid for the Kanilai, for the deliveries that were provided.
As the advisor to the president, why didn't you say, can we repatriate those funds and then pay them in another way. You know, funds, when you transfer them and you cannot effect the transaction that was intended, the funds can be repatriated very easily.
Supposed to be back.
Good. Why was that route not exploited? It was not even one of the options.
You know, he would come and then he would tell you, you know, do this, and it would give you no room to, you know, to explain or to ask anything. It wasn't easy.
Let's move back to the $10 million.
Okay.
Was there any rehabilitation work done with respect to the $10 million, as far as you know?
As far as I know, I'm not aware.
Counsel, your witness.
Mr. Ba, again, we'll come back to the transactions. On this particular transaction with the GEG or Mr. Manhal. The guarantee or the GRA, Gambia Revenue Authority recovery account at GT Bank, do you recollect it?
Yes.
You are signatory to that account?
I was.
This was an account opened on the 11th June 2012. And you, as Secretary General, and the ex-president were the first signatories. Of course, subsequently that changed. Now, can you tell us why that account was opened? You recollect that that account was in respect of tax revenues that the Commission of Inquiry had found, had made orders against various companies and other Gambian citizens, and monies were expected to be paid by these people. And this account was open. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to this commission why you were the Secretary General, why was that account open?
There was a commission that was set up called, I think it was named the Tax Recovery Commission. And when they were done, they came into the State House for a presentation of...
Who was called?
When the work was done, when
they were done, okay.
When they were done with the work, they came to State House to present their report. And
sorry, who specifically came? Yes.
The commission, I think, chair, there was Fatima Singate, I think she headed that commission, and her members, her staff. And they came to the cabinet room, and it was presented, you know, to the executive. I believe one of the recommendations was for an account to be opened, where these funds would be, where people would go and pay, those that are said to owe some tax liabilities to go and pay. And on other recommendations, when everybody, you know, dispersed, the former president asked me to write to the bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, for the opening of this account. There, I suggested to him, I put it to him, so why don't we allow the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Finance, and GRA, you know, to handle this account, you know, instead? Because Ministry of Justice, they headed this commission, this inquiry, I believe, and there are some legal, aspects about it. Minister of Finance, they represent government on financial issues, financial matters. GRA handle taxes. So I think it would be appropriate for them, to handle this account. What he told me was, no, the Office of the President would handle the account. And may I know why, sir? With all due respect, he said, for two reasons.
You said that to him?
Yes.
You're narrating a conversation.
Yes, I had with him on this issue. So he said, no, for two reasons. One is compliance, and the other is monitoring. He said compliance, when people know that the Office of the President is involved, they would take it seriously and they would go and pay what is owed. The other one, the other thing is monitoring. I want to know who is paying and who is not. Said, okay. It's not like we are not advising him or we're not telling him how we feel. Under circumstances, yes, there are prevailing circumstances that will not allow us, to say anything, because who feels it knows it, We've worked under those circumstances. But I was able to tell him this, and then he said, those are the reasons why it would be under this office. So we wrote to the bank. I wrote to the bank, asking them to open, this account for tax recovery. And then when the bank reacted, they wanted to know who the signatories were. I went back to him and he said, himself and the Secretary General.
Sorry, you went back to him?
I went back to him about the bank's request for
signatories.
And then he said it would be him and myself as the SG, him as the president and myself as the SG. I said, wow. Already I was running away from, this responsibility of being part of the signatories of that account, within State House. And I didn't succeed on that. And now, he's asking that I become a signatory. So we signed the signature card and sent it back to, the bank. And that is how I became a signatory to the account and himself.
I see. Mr. Ba, when the president became signatory to state aircraft account, you were not Secretary General. I can see that from the records. But at this time, you had the opportunity to advise him that as president, he could not be signatory to accounts. Did you seize the opportunity, given the opportunity that he had availed you to advise him, to ask him questions?
No, I never advised him on that one, on him being a signatory to that account.
So you just went along to becoming a...
Sometimes you're not even aware that that account existed. At some point, I didn't know that account even existed, that aircraft account. So how can you advise him on something that you don't know?
That's not my question. I'm asking you whether this time you seized the opportunity to advise him that he, as president, it was not advisable for him as president to be a signatory to the tax recovery account.
No, I did not advise him on that.
So what happened to the tax revenues? Did you withdraw monies from the account?
There were monies that were withdrawn.
Yes.
Yes, there were monies that were withdrawn. And I had a problem with it at some point, and I confronted him, on that. When there were 3, 4 to 5 withdrawals, I was like, I went to him when he asked me to make certain transactions. I asked him, sir, don't you think if there is a leak, from the bank, that this money or this account is, being tampered with or being used, the sort of a scandal, can we imagine that? And he looked at me surprisingly, and I was standing, he was busy, treating a file or something like that. He looked at me and said, "Are you the president, or am I the president?" I told him, "Yes, Your Excellency, you are the president, sir." He said, "Okay, until that time." So, but I had issues, I had concerns, that funds were being withdrawn.
All right. Okay. Now, for today, I'm going to show you one of the first transactions on the account. This was for $250,000 US that was withdrawn. And it's a letter dated 20th September 2012. This exhibits BB, it's from BB 3033, Mr. Chairman. And the letter which was signed by both yourself and the ex-president as signatories indicated that you are requesting for the sale of $250,000 from the Gambia Revenue Recovery account that Dr. Njogu Elba has been authorized to withdraw the said amount. Do you recollect that transaction?
Yes.
What was the money for? Did you withdraw the money from the bank? Well, this record showed that you did withdraw the money from the bank. What was the money used for?
I believe it was meant for the travel of the First Lady, the former First Lady.
$250,000. Where was she? What aspect of the travel was that amount supposed to fund? That's a lot of money.
I think it was the chartering of a flight, I think. I want to believe. Chartering of a flight for her.
Which file? Would there be a file for that, the charter of the flight? Who handled the flight charters?
First Lady's Travels.
Yes.
I think there is a file for that.
First Lady's Travel.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Mr. Ba, we do have, as you know, as Secretary General, you were involved in quite a number of transactions. So I'll stop, Mr. Chairman, I'll stop here for Mr. Ba today because I have other witnesses. He'll be required to come back tomorrow so that I can deal with other witnesses as well.
Mr. Ba, just two questions before you go, or before the others ask questions. In your view, would you say that you aided and abetted the ex-President Jammeh in wrongdoings as you signed loads of letters and withdrawals of public funds?
I don't believe that I aided and abetted, knowingly. No.
So your answer to that is no?
No, yeah.
Okay. The second question is, why did you continue to serve if working conditions with the ex-president were so bad, in your view? Or what was your interest in continuing to serve? Do you understand the question?
I was serving for my country. I was serving in the the best interest of my country. That's what I believe. I was serving because I believe that there was a vision that was out there for this country, you know, and I bought into it, and I, you know, tried to give all my heart and my time and my energy to make sure that the country was moving. If conditions were so bad, why I continued to serve? I believe that sometimes you can influence decisions, you can influence issues positively while you are in, not while you are outside. And once you are in, and having been there for some time, you just cannot leave. You just cannot go. That was the impression that we had, and not only impression, but we've seen that he doesn't accept or he doesn't allow resignations or abandoning him unless you leave the country. But you cannot do that and then, you know, stay, you know, within and be okay and be safe and, you know, go about your business. But that didn't, you know, put me to, cause me to continue, you know, serving, because I believe in what I was doing. You know, I believe that, you know, I was working for my country and the best way possible at the time. And I stayed, you know, and stayed and then worked until, you know, we parted in, you know, 2013.
So would you say there was an element of fear? An element of fear, that's why you could not resign?
Yes, if I had to resign, I would have to leave, you know, this country. And then take along all my family, all members, you know, out, you know, because President Jammeh was somebody that, you know, he would feel that if he feels that you're abandoning him, or if he feels that you know something, and then, you know, with all that you just leave, you know, he would not allow that, he would not accept that. We all know that we were in fears. There were so many things that were happening, and we all set our eyes to that. But what could we do? If you say anything, you are in trouble. If you do anything, you are in trouble. Whatever you do, you have to be mindful, even those that were not working, even people that were out there not working in government, you know, they were careful, they were mindful of what was going on and what to say and what to do. They also what was happening, if they, you know, not in agreement, but who would go out and protest about it? So there was this element of fear, yes, and it's a fact. You know, we cannot deny that. And we were there, and we knew that there was this element of fear. You know, for your safety, for your health, you know, whatever happens to you, you know, you try to be a macho man, you try to, you know, be brave out there or be vocal, or whatever happens to you, Gambian people, or most of them will just look at you and then turn the other side, and, you know, you bear the consequences. You know, that was the problem. You know, you saw things that were not right. You tried to say it, you said, look, don't tell me anything, or look, this is a no-go area. And then you know that, you know, you were doing it for the interest of this country. But he's not accepting it, he doesn't want it. And you had this choice to leave or to stay. You couldn't leave because of certain reasons. You know, you couldn't leave because of certain reasons. You stayed, and you're thinking that while I'm staying, I can influence positively some decisions for the interest of the country. And that was one of the reasons why we stayed and not resigned.
Okay. It's quite interesting, because I know at certain points your services were terminated and you were reinstated at certain points, right?
Whenever that happened, there were reasons. There are certain things that, he would want to do, and I'm not in agreement with it. There are certain issues that can come up that he wants to, probably keep it away from me. Knowing that, if I'm there, I may be, I may object to it or might say my opinion, which may not tally with what, he believes or what he wants to do, then he would move me. And once I'm moved, and then I came back, I would ask him, what happened? What did I do? So he would tell me, no, you haven't done anything. It's just that I needed you to help me at that ministry. But there was times, when I go and come, you will see that certain things did happen in my absence. And then I will come, I'll just inherit it and move along. And that's basically one of the reasons, why I've been going in and out. He knew what I could do because I gave my heart, to work and to the service. But there are certain things that, I have my reservations and, I would discuss with him. So if he is not comfortable with, whatever decision he will want to take, with my presence there, then there is this movement from here to another office. And when I come back, I would ask what happened. And he would tell me, nothing, I just wanted you to help me in that ministry or, somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
I would require you to come back tomorrow.
At what time?
11 would be fine.
11.
11. Thank you.
Okay. Very well, you may leave now.
Yes.
Still.
I call I recall Fatuma Asjog.
Fatuma has been here before.
Madam Job, we just want to remind you that he's still under oath. You can have a say.
Mrs. Nyai, on the last time you were here, we touched on the mobilization account.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were explaining how you became signatory to that account.
Yes, ma'am.
Specifically, you said it was in respect of a particular visit.
Yes, ma'am.
What visit was it?
It was the visit of President Ma, the Taiwanese head of state, from the 11th to the 14th of April.
You were the Minister of
Tourism and Culture at the time. Yes, ma'am.
How many accounts are you signatory of, government accounts? Were you signatory of?
That is the only account.
That was the only account?
Yes, ma'am.
You were not signatory to any account in your ministry?
No.
Did you understand why you were not signatory to any account in your ministry?
Yes, I did understand, ma'am.
You did understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Why were you not signatory?
Because we were not even mandated to open accounts with private banks.
So what was different with this one?
This one, in fact, ma'am, when I came in this morning, I did what we call a supplemental testimony to the one I did on the 14th of September. Because I realized that I was part and parcel of the, I was among the 3 ministers that opened this account on the 10th of January 2012.
We want to understand your thinking. You were not a signatory to any account in your own ministry.
No.
Yet you agreed to become signatory to this account. We just want to understand why, or give you the opportunity for you to explain why.
Okay, ma'am. This account was opened with the main purpose of celebration of national events. And when the account was opened, we were preparing for the inauguration of His Excellency, the former president, in 2012. And because there is a budget line for State House in celebration of national events, we agreed as a committee. There was a committee that was set up, National Organizing Committee, chaired always by the former vice president. And we were directed to open such an account at GT Bank. And the first deposit to this account was about $9 million on the 11th of April.
Who directed you?
It was part of a meeting. I cannot remember who directed us to open the account, but I was one of the signatories. I can't remember.
Yes, but you haven't explained why. Why did you agree to become signatory to accounts? You had permanent secretaries working for you. You had the accountant general. Why would you agree to become a signatory to the account, knowing fully well that you are not an accounting officer, as you said? Do you have any explanation? Maybe you don't have.
Well, we were directed to open the account, and they gave us the reason why we should open the account.
You were directed by whom?
By the former president, to open the account. And 3 of us were the signatories, the initial signatories to the account.
Did any of you suggest to him that there might be a better alternative?
No, not to my knowledge.
According to the accounts of the information that we have regarding the transactions on the account, you handled a specific transaction relating to a check that was paid in by the central bank, from the central bank.
Yes.
Now, is it $8,356,797.27?
The amount I was paid was $8,139,222. This was paid to me on the 10th of April 2012 in relation to the state visit of President Ma.
Can you repeat the figure again?
$8,139,222.
This was 10th April?
10th of April 2012.
2012.
In relation to the state visit.
Was that the only amount that you handled?
Yes, ma'am.
Personally?
That was the only amount that was paid, drawn into my name, Fatuma Sjungjai.
So which ministry was responsible for managing the accounts? I know you were the signatories, but there must have been at least some institution responsible for the accounts, because you were a signatory, so was finance, and so was the Secretary General. Was there any ministry put in charge of the account? How did it work?
For me, I can only speak on the amount that I was paid. That is the 8.1 million and nothing else.
So this money was paid into the account?
It was paid to me personally. Before the money was paid, there was a budget, various budgets that were submitted by the various subcommittee heads. We had different committees, accommodation, etc. We submitted a budget for 8,430,000, but 8,139,000 was approved. And the check was paid, given to me, and I did not want to withdraw the cash and hold on to the cash, so I decided to pay it into the mobilization account the same day. And from the mobilization account, disbursements were made to the various committee chairpersons, and in most cases, we paid the service providers directly. It was an impress that was subject to retirement after the event.
Did you retire it?
Yes, I retired on the 20th of June the same year.
Who did you retire to?
To the accountant at the office of the president.
Do you remember the name of the accountant?
No, I can't remember, because in my testimony I stated the fact that when the financial statements were prepared, together with the bank reconciliation, because I was out of town at the time, I directed the then Deputy Permanent Secretary to retire the funds to the accountant at the Office of the President. And I'm sure the letter must have been addressed to the then Secretary General, because you cannot write to accountants directly.
Who was the Deputy Permanent Secretary?
She's now the Permanent Secretary now at the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, Kodu Jabang.
She was your Permanent Secretary?
She was my Deputy Permanent Secretary at the time.
Secretary.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have, did you retire it, or did she retire it with all supporting documents?
With all supporting documents, because I was supported by a team, including the ministry, in order to make sure all the receipts were received and everything was done on time.
That's the ministry, your own
So
ministry?
my ministry, yes. I was supported by the team. That's why I was able to direct her to retire with all the documentation.
Do you have the cover letter that she submitted?
I don't have a copy, but I'm sure it will be at the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
Okay. But what was the date of the letter? Do you know?
I sent her an email on the 20th of June, 2012, but I did not check the date of that letter, the retirement. But I know the retirement was done because my name, at the time they issued the check to me, my name was flagged in the system, the government system called IFMIS. And once you retire, then your name will be deleted from the system.
Do you have any documents that you want the commission to look at?
Yes, I've already tendered the financial reports and the bank reconciliation statement.
You mean you handed it over to the
I handed it
investigators?
over, yes, together with the budget that was approved and out of which these funds were disbursed. I handed over everything.
I'll just give you these documents and you check whether this is what you handed over.
Yeah.
So that
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, it is in order.
this is what you handed in.
Yes, on the 14th of September, this is what I handed, yes.
Now, that seems to be a report. It doesn't have any supporting or any attachments. You're saying the attachments would be at the Office of the President. You give them to your Deputy Permanent Secretary to hand in. Is that what you're saying?
In terms of the vouchers, the receipts and everything, the whole pack should be, if not at the Office of the President, but it should be available at the Accountant General's office, because they're the ones that will have to take my name off the system. It was a full pack, but all I have is the bank reconciliation and the financial report indicating who was paid and what the payment was for. The whole pack was submitted because you need to give them originals. I'm not sure whether there is a file at the Ministry of Tourism with the other copies. I'm not sure.
So you are saying you spent the entire sum of 8,139,222.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And it's all recorded.
Accounted for, yes, ma'am.
All right. And the top copy is your own statement, so I have to detach that. Yeah. So I'm just going to submit these supporting documents. Are you listening, Mrs. Njai?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, I'm applying to have admitted documents provided by this witness as supporting documents, or part of the supporting documents, for the sum of $8,139,222 paid to her from the Central Bank.
Mrs. Nyai?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, we're just trying to understand the document. Can you confirm how much was withdrawn? Is it the 8,139,222? That's what was withdrawn, given to you?
Yes, everything was spent. In fact, the additional would have been the Kairaba Beach Hotel and Coco Ocean, respectively.
No, I'm going by the email. I just want to clarify certain things. So
Which document are you referring to?
The email.
The email dated.
We can give it to you to look at.
Was it the June one or the April one?
Email 17th of April, 2012.
Okay, 17th of April, there's a supporting bank reconciliation attached to it, indicating the total disbursed to date. Total disbursed was 7.7 million, 7,742,652. Leaving an outstanding balance. We had a credit balance at the time, at that particular date, of 396,000. Then I mentioned the fact that we still have outstanding bills from Kairaba and Coco Ocean, respectively. But as at this particular date, we've disbursed 7.7 and had a credit balance of 396,000.
Okay, that's fine. That's clear.
Then there won't be any misunderstanding. Supporting documents in respect of the 8,139,222 dalasis withdrawn from the mobilization account at Guaranteed Bank, at Guaranteed Trust Bank, numbered 202-154-675-110, admitted marked in a bundle MS 55.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The statement that you typed and submitted, if you want to have that statement admitted as explanation for some of the transactions, you'd have to present yourself again for a deposition to be taken from you, a formal deposition to be taken.
Okay, ma'am.
I don't have any other questions for this witness.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very well. You may leave.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think it's time. Very well. This is a convenient time to have the usual break. We'll be back at 2:30.